मैंने बस अभी एक नया एक एम्प्टी रिएक्ट ऐप बनाया है और कुछ नहीं करा है। तो हम आज का अपना स्टार्ट करते हैं लेक्चर। सो हमने लास्ट क्लास में वी हैव डिस्कस्ड टिल द यूज इट एंड द यूज इफेक्ट हुक, the very important hooks that we use in React and to create any basic application. And we done the React router DOM कि भाई how we can do the navigation in our React application कि going from one route to another route. ठीक है, so these were the very important concepts, like the use state and use effect hook was the very basic and the important hook that you are going to use a lot when you are creating an React application. Let's today start with the working with the APIs and the asynchronous operation in React with Axios. Okay, so we are covering topics, right? So we have learned two hooks, then we have learned the React router DOM, then we are going to learn about all these APIs, and then next topic. So they are the topic, and then like we are learning all the React concepts in a topic. So like React concepts is nothing but a topic wise. You will get to know about it. Okay, what is APIs and how can you do all those things, and what you can do in React. Okay, so working with the APIs and asynchronous. So in JavaScript we handle the APIs, right? So let me open my whiteboard also. ठीक है, सो हमने जावास्क्रिप्ट में एपीआई, ठीक है, तो हमने जावास्क्रिप्ट में क्या देखा था? हमने जावास्क्रिप्ट में देखा था कि भाई वी यूज टू यूज समथिंग नोन एज दी फेच। ठीक है, कि भाई फेच and then here is the API, and then from that API we get a response. Const response is equal to a, ठीक है, and then we used to convert this rest because we will be getting a string, right? We will be getting a string from the fetch. Then we used to convert this into a what? Into an object by using the like if the response we are getting, so we will do the response dot JSON. ठीक है, then we get the object, and then we are going to manipulate it like in our website, or we are going to use this object. ठीक है, this is how we used to do in while working with the API. We can use the fetch. ठीक है, कनेक्शन आ रहा है ना? Yeah. So in the same way in React we can see, so Axios is one such library. So Axios is one such library that we use. ठीक है, so Axios is one such library. तो Axios is a library. ठीक है, is a library. Why library? I already told you, by library is something that it can help us help us to help us to write code shorter, or like it can optimize our particular application. Like library will library are something that can help us to write code or to help us to optimize our performance or an application. Just fetch is a by default library of the browser. In the same way, Axios is a library that we download in our laptops, and that's how we are going to use this to fetch the request or the response from the API. So we are going to use the Axios. Okay? So this is let me present this also. ठीक है, so Axios is a promise-based HTTP client for the browser and the Node.js. It makes easy to send asynchronous HTTP requests to REST endpoints. What is REST endpoints? We will discuss later. But see, this is the API, right? This is the one such API, JSON placeholder.typecode.com. But whatever the after slash is written, like users, this is known as the endpoint. कि भाई we are hitting this particular endpoint. What is hitting means कि भाई we are requesting something, like we are hitting this particular API and we are trying to get a response from this particular API. So this is one such endpoint that we can get the data from this particular API. ठीक है, here can be anything, like if the API contains those endpoint. So here it can be anything. It can be cats, or it can be dogs. Okay. So these are the endpoints. We will discuss more about these, like how to create these endpoints, when we will do backend, when we will create our own APIs. Okay. We will create our own APIs. So HTTP request to handle the REST endpoints and perform CRUD operations. CRUD operations means create, react, sorry, create, read, update, and delete operations. But what is the main part of React using Axios? What is the why we are using it, Axios? See, Axios is found that it is faster than fetch, okay, in getting the data, or in like posting the data in the API. And the one important thing that it do is automatically transform JSON data. Okay, so as I told you na, ki bhai, we used to convert this into an object, right? We used to convert this into an object. कि भाई we first get the object, like we first get the response, but that response is in a string, right? And now we used to convert that particular response into JSON to use it to convert it into an object. But Axios, but in Axios we don't have to do all those things. Okay, so we don't have to do all those things. We will get the result in the JSON format only. Whenever we are making a request, and whenever we are sending data to this particular API, like whenever we are sending this data to the particular API, कि भाई we are posting some data in this particular API. So that also we don't have to transform it into a string, and we can directly like post it. See, ठीक है? So this is why we are use Axios in like in a React application, or it's a library. ठीक है? You can use it anywhere. If you want to do a build application with other JavaScript libraries, like the AngularJS or the Vue.js, they are just similar as the React.js. So Axios is a library. So you can use this Axios library there also. Okay. So but why Axios is the most used library in this world, like in this on like while creating applications? Why? Because it is very famous for handling the HTTP client to like for handling it to make easy to send the asynchronous HTTP request. Okay, so this is very important library. And every developer, like most of the developers, 99% of the developers use the Axios only. Like very few use the fetch. Okay, everyone uses Axios. Okay, let's see कि भाई how we can do that, how we can create this, how we can use this Axios same thing. So I'm in the app.js. I will use the functional component. So we have, if you have seen the video last, so we have discussed what is the class component, functional components, all those things. So we are going to use the functional components in the React in this course, okay? And you are going to build this application with the front end only. Sorry, the functional components only. Okay, so let's start. So how we can install this library? You just have to go on Google npm Axios. Okay, npm Axios. You will get this. Click on this particular link. So you will get ki bhai, you will like it will give you all the details of this particular Axios, how you can use it. Okay, how you can add this to particular your own laptops, like your to use this particular library. So we have npm installed in our laptop, so we are going to install it through npm. So npm install Axios. I will copy this and I will go back and I will paste this. Okay, cd. Okay, so I will paste this and I will click enter. Then it will install this library into my React application. Okay. So how can I check you whether this thing is installed or not? You can go to the package.json, and now you can see in dependencies you have now Axios library with the current version of it. Okay. So that's how you can download it. Okay, and you will see the all details, like bhai kitna, like see weekly downloads are like 50 million downloads. See na, weekly downloads are 50 million downloads. Like 50 million people, like 50 million times it has been downloaded in the by the users. Okay, so like this is a very big and used library. Okay, let's see how we can use this. Okay, so we have to first import it. This is the alternative of fetch. Ki how we are going to uh, uh, like how we used to do in JavaScript by using the fetch. In the same way, just this is the Axios library that will do the same thing, but it will improve the code. Like it will improve the performance optimization, and the biggest advantage is that it automatically transform your data. Okay, so we don't have to do all those dot json dot stringify and all those things. So Axios from Axios. Okay, this is how we can include this particular into our file. Okay, let's make a request here. So how we're going to do that? So okay, let's tell, I will show you here only. What I will do, I will just create a h1 Axios, and I will create a button here कि भाई on clicking on button, what I will do, uh, get get users. ठीक है, so on click, this is how we define function. So like you can write the name of the function, get users, and now I will create a function here, function get users, and I will see whether it is working or not. Working. ठीक है, let's see. Me let me ठीक है, click on this get users and you will see working. ठीक है, so on like now while when we click this particular button, we should call the, like we should hit the API. कि भाई we should send the request to the API कि भाई give me data. How we are going to do that? Let's see. So let's write this constant response, and in response I will use the Axios dot get, and I will paste this particular uh, particular API. ठीक है, let me copy this particular API and I will paste this. ठीक है, as simple as that. In fetch we used to do something like just fetch, but we how we do that, Axios dot get. I told you we use get. Okay, we will discuss more about this in like upcoming lectures, but get is when we want to get something from the API. Okay, so we are telling the by this is the syntax we use by Axios dot get, and then we are getting this particular data from this API. So I will see console dot log, and the I will console the rest. ठीक है, let's see what will happen. ठीक है, if I click on get users, what you are seeing here, promise pending. Can we solve this? We already have done that. Can you tell me how we can solve that? Promise pending आ रहा है ना यहाँ पे. So there is something like,
Asynchronous.
right, good. So we have to make this function asynchronous. Why? Because I have told you कि भाई Axios is a promise based HTTP client. It returns a promise, so we have to wait for that particular promise to come to us. So like it will take time to give us the result, so we have to wait for it. We are not waiting for it right now. We are just we are not waiting for it. We are just directly consoling the result. That is why it is coming the pending here. Okay. So what we have to do? We have to make it await, and we have to make this function asynchronous. Asynchronous. Okay, as simple as that. Now if I refresh this and if I click again on that you will see, if I see you get users, you will see the now the particular thing is coming. What it is coming? Let's see this. A config file is coming. Okay, we don't have to worry about this what config file is. Like it contains so many functions, but we don't have to worry about it. The main two things we have to the main thing we have to focus on the data. कि भाई we are getting the data. In this particular response, we are getting a data object. This is a whole object. Okay, this is like a whole object. This is like a this is like a whole object we are getting, right? It is not my pen tab stopped working. ठीक है. So क्या हो रहा है ना कि we are getting the response and we are getting the directly an object, not a string. So like in that object some config file is there. ठीक है, and then the data is there. So we have to focus on the data. Then this data contains so many objects. This data contains objects. Okay. So like in this particular what we are getting an array. So how this is like something like this कि भाई we are getting an object and it contains the data first thing, and then we are getting the array. Now this array contains this so many objects. Okay, so many objects. This is how we are getting, this is the array and we are getting the objects here, id, name, username, so all these things. Okay, this is how we are going to get the data from it. So this is how response like Axios help us to do those things. So bhai, we want to get the data only, right? What you can do is response dot res dot data. Okay, so now what you will get the data here only. if i if I click on the if I click on the get users, what you will see, you will get the data here. Okay, now you are getting the data only here. Okay, as simple as that. So now we can do anything of anything from this. Okay, like we can show this all those things to our to our UI. Okay, we can just we can use this data and we can show it to our UI. This is how applications build कि भाई backend will give us a API, like your backend team will create those APIs. ठीक है, and we are as a front end developers, we will ask those we will call their APIs, the backend team that created, and that's how we are going to get the data from the backend. ठीक है, this is how the this is how front end and backend works. ठीक है, so we done that using the Axios. ठीक है, so like what we can do is to more optimize it, we can use something known as the try catch ball. कि भाई try catch, as simple as that कि भाई this is the simple concept. We will put this in try and we will do something console.log error. What this is saying is, why we use try and catch bug कि भाई if something goes wrong while getting the data from this API, or if this API is not sending us data, or if this API is wrong, so then just go to this in this catch block and just show this particular error. Okay, as simple as that. So let me change this particular API. Let me remove R from here and let me save this. Okay, let's see what will happen. What will happen? So if I click on get users, now you will see the Axios error. Okay, so like it gave me an error कि भाई message network error Axios error, like this is something wrong there is something wrong in the API. Okay, like the you are getting the error name not resolved. Why we are getting this? Because we have console dot error. We have like catch that error, and now we are consoling this error to our users. So we can, what we can do is कि भाई like we can create something कि भाई if error, then just return an alert कि something is wrong. ठीक है, just to catch those errors. So like if I click on get users, something is wrong. ठीक है, this is how we used to catch errors. Like this is why we create the try and catch block. ठीक है, as simple as that. ठीक है, so I think we are done. Let me paste here R also, and let me get users. So I will get the users. ठीक है, okay. Okay. Now next topic is, understood this topic? Axios understood? Very simple. Just the alternative of the fetch. Okay. Conditional rendering is another topic in React. What does that mean is कि भाई let me create a new file here and content dot .jsx. Okay. I'm just sorry. I have to make this in capital letters. Already told you that whenever you make a file, create it in the capital letters. Okay. So let me create a function here, and what should I do is that let me create a hand, handle request dot jsx. Okay, and let me paste this whole code there. ठीक है, so that later in the so that you can get all those code from the GitHub. ठीक है, so let me import Axios. Axios from Axios. This is we have to first import this particular thing. ठीक है, as simple as that. Now let's in the app.jsx, why I'm creating files so that we can like learn all these topics in one single application only. We don't have to create different applications. So what I will do is now that to show you conditional rendering, what is conditional, I will import this file. Import, name this as the capital letters. ठीक है, just make sure कि भाई this thing and this thing should be in capital, like the first letter should be capital. Now in the app.jsx, what I will do is I will import this particular file. So import, and I will use this. ठीक है, just forget this error. It will go away when you start your application. It will go away, and I will call this. ठीक है, this is how we simply can now we are calling the counter this particular file. So let's start the what is conditional rendering. Let's understand this topic. Conditional rendering in React allows you to render different components or element based on the condition. ठीक है, this is known as the conditional rendering. As simple as that कि भाई we are showing something to the user, ठीक है, and we want to show it कि भाई if something is false or if something is not true, then show this particular thing, or if something is true, then show this particular thing. This is known as a conditional rendering. As simple as that कि भाई conditional in React allows you to render the different components or elements based on a condition. ठीक है, just like a simple कि भाई if else कि भाई if this is true then show this, or else this is true then show this. How we can do in React in just simple terms? Let's see. So what we're doing is we will create a something known as the login application. So like a simple login application. Why we have to, let me just copy paste this because it will take time. Yeah, let me write this. ठीक है, so constant, we are going to use the what use state. We are going to create a state so that we can just make it a boolean value. A state, we can make it a boolean value, and through that state what we are going to do that कि भाई if that state is true then show this particular component, or show this element. Of if that particular state is false then show this element. This is known as the conditional rendering in the React. As simple as that. So is login is login and set login. Okay, this is the state I have created using the use state. Okay, and let me add the initial value of the state. What should I write? I will write the false. Okay, as simple as that. So let's see by how we can write those conditional rendering. Okay, so let me just write here what how we can do that is by is login okay. Now see, we have done this in JavaScript also कि भाई this is the alternative method of using if else. ठीक है, this is the alternative of we have done this in JavaScript where I showed you first using the if else condition, and then I showed you कि भाई you can also write the syntax if else syntax in this form also by using this by using this question mark in the this. ठीक है, so this is the same thing we are doing here कि भाई if this particular the state we have created, the variable we have created, if this particular thing is true then show कि भाई then what show कि भाई we can write here anything. H1 welcome to your dashboard. And if it is not true भाई अगर इंसान कोई लॉगिन नहीं है then what show him कि भाई what show him please log in. ठीक है, this is what we created. Please log in, it is saying us please log in. Why? Because the initial state we have defined is the false here. ठीक है, false here. What if I make it true? What if I make it true? Now you will see, welcome to your dashboard. This is the conditional rendering we are doing here. This is the conditional rendering we are doing here on the this particular state. Okay. So what we can do more, one more thing is, now this is not we are going to do, right? This is not we are going to do. Uh, what we have to do is we have to create a button here. Ki bhai please log in, and I will create a button here. Ki login, and I will write a on click function here. On click, and the handle login. You can write, I can write any function name, but it is the practice when you're creating a function, when you're creating a like a functions like a login or the submit function or any function, just use the handle before that. It's not a reserved keyword. It's just ki bhai, when someone else will read your code, he will understand ki bhai, this is a particular like we are handling a login here. Okay. So what we write is function handle login, and what we are going to do is, now we are going to change the state. We are going to change the state कि भाई if someone clicks on this particular handle login button, what we have to do is we have to change the state from the false to true. Okay, let's do that. Set, how we do that by using this second function that useState provides us. Why this function is useState provides us? The main purpose of this function is to manipulate a particular state in the component. So we are going to do that only. Login, and what I will do, I will change the value to the false, sorry, true. As simple as that. ठीक है, this means कि भाई we are changing this particular initial value of this from false to the true. ठीक है, now what will happen? Component will re-render. Why? Because state is changed. Whenever state will change, component will re-render. Component will, when the component will re-render, it will see कि भैया login is now true. So I have to show this particular welcome to the dashboard. As simple as that. ठीक है. So if I click on login, you will see welcome to the dashboard. ठीक है. As simple as that. Why is that? Because we have manipulating the state here. This is how we are manipulating the state here. As simple as that. So now tell me कि भाई I want to create a logout button here. Logout button here. Logout button, and on click, I will write something as handle logout, and I will create a function handle logout. What I have to do here? What I have to do here? Can you tell me? Can you tell me what I have to do here? Uh,
Set the login state to false.
right, very good. So we are just changing it to false here. कि भाई make it false. When you make it make it false, component will re-render, and then this will check कि भाई is login is true. नहीं है भैया, login is login true नहीं है. Then it will come here and it will show this particular component. ठीक है, as simple as that. So we are going to log out. Now please log in again. ठीक है, as simple as that. So like if I refresh, if I show you again, if I click on login, it will say welcome to your dashboard, and now we have the logout button here. If I click on logout, now we have the login button. This is how we are handling the this is how what is known as the conditional rendering. Depending on the state, we are getting the like we are showing the components. Okay, as simple as that. So this is conditional rendering. Let's move on to the next topic. Rendering list. ठीक है, rendering list. Let me create another file here. File rendering list.jsx. ठीक है, and what I will do is I will now comment this, and I will now import that file rendering list. ठीक है, now we can show the rendering list here. ठीक है, as simple as that. Let's see what is this. Lists are used to render a set of similar dynamically, and keys help React identify which items have been changed. Just a simple concept, no big thing. It's just like these topics are asked in the interviews. कि भाई show me कि how you can render list. ठीक है. So like this is the one object, this is the one object, and now we have to show this particular object onto the particular UI. ठीक है. So simple JavaScript. What we are going to do, we are going to map our particular thing. Let's see this. Let's see this also. So imagine that we have this particular object constant users. Yeah, particular users, and now I want to show this particular users to the UI. Okay, to the UI. How I can do that? uh, let's take a first simpler example. Let's comment this and let's take a simpler example. Let's take a number array. Okay, and create in it has the number 2, 3, 4. Okay, and now one num rendering list. Now, how I have to render this list, particular list into the UI? I use something known as the map. We all know that कि भैया whenever we have to perform something to an array, whenever we have to iterate to like a array, we can use a map. ठीक है? We can use the for, we can use the anything for each, but we can but here we are going to use the map. Why? Because we are not something doing to the state here, like we are not creating a state here. लो ठीक है, भूल जाओ, ये याद रखो. Every time whenever you are entering a list in the React, always use map. I will show you why. So what I have to do is numbers. Let me add two numbers here. Numbers dot map, and here I will create two parameters, number and the index, and then the, yeah, this is how we can, or what we can do is just, ठीक है. So let me write a number here. Like what we're doing is that we are iterating to this numbers array. Okay? We are iterating to numbers dot map. We are iterating to the numbers array. We have done this in JavaScript. I won't go deep in this. And we are now showing this number to the UI. So what I will do is div, and here what I will write here, number. Okay? As simple as that. Let's see. We are not getting anything. Yeah, why we are not getting anything? Because there is this semicolon in the end, so why it is not iterating this. So what we have to do is that we have to, okay, I think, yeah, now it will work. Okay, so if I go back to the your, you will see 1 2 3 4. Okay, just remember this thing कि भाई whenever see whenever we use the colon, like the curly braces, we have to return something. Whenever we are using the curly braces, we have to return something. But we don't want here to return anything from this particular thing. We are directly showing this to a UI, so we will use the curly braces. Okay, this is the logic here. Okay, so we are iterating to this number array, and iterating through this number array, and dot map, what we will do कि भाई we are showing this particular each element in the UI. How it is happening? कि भाई numbers array iterate, num will, it will iterate this particular array and it will show this. Now we are showing this. ठीक है? It will iterate this particular array and we are showing this as this is, we are getting the rendering list on the UI 1 2 3 4. ठीक है? 1 2 3 4. Why we have index here? Why there is this index parameter in the like second parameter? Because what we can do is we can every particular thing have an index value. Every particular element will have an unique index value. So that's, now the one has index value 0, 2 has the 1, so we are showing the index value here. Okay, this is how we are going to iterate the list in the React.js. This is known as the rendering the list. Okay, so this is a very simple example. We are just iterating the numbers here. Let's take this particular object here, like a user's object. Okay, as simple as that. ठीक है. So that one thing that here is the problem is that कि भाई, let me show you to the, let me go back to my whiteboard. ठीक है. So rendering list, we are rendering by using dot map. ठीक है. We understood that कि भाई this is a function that we have learned in JavaScript. It will help us to render the each and every particular element of that particular array or the object we are going to use. ठीक है. React says कि भैया you should always use a parameter known as the key, known as the key. As if you will see here, versus not defined. Each child up error I was getting before that. This is a warning. This is not an error. Okay, so like you will get the results, but this is a warning. Each child in a list should have a unique key prop. Why this is saying a unique key prop? Why this is saying a unique key prop? See, we know कि भाई React creates the virtual DOM. ठीक है, like and then it will create another virtual DOM and it will compare both those virtual DOM कि भाई what is the difference here, what is the difference here, and then it will actually manipulate the actual DOM. ठीक है, actual DOM, whatever the difference it will find here, it will actually manipulate the actual DOM. This is why we need the key here. Why we need the key here is that because कि भाई imagine we have an object, just we have in this array, in this particular thing, in this particular thing, we have an array of objects. ठीक है. name Name is this and the id is this. ठीक है. Imagine if there are same two names here. Imagine if there are same two names here. Name is equal to Akshat and there is another name is equal to Akshat. ठीक है. There is no unique identifier. There is no unique identifier for that. ठीक है. And I am changing this particular name. I am making it to Akshat 2. How will React identify कि भाई either whether you have made this change to this particular thing or this particular thing? That is why we always use the React. That is why we always say the key. We always give this key to the particular thing. So whenever we are rendering list, whenever we are rendering list, we can do something like कि भाई whenever we are rendering list to the UI, so what we can do is कि भाई name Akshat and I can give a ID to this one. ठीक है. This is the first object and the second object same as the Akshat and ID is 2. Now whenever I'm going to change this particular object, React will identify कि भाई ठीक है, you have changed this a particular object with the ID 2. now i can now I can see the difference and now I can actually manipulate the actual DOM. This is why we need the key and this is why we are getting the error here कि भाई each child in a list मतलब कि भाई list मतलब this list कि भाई each child in a list, child मतलब 1 2 3 should have a key prop, should have a key prop in this. ठीक है. That is why we are have the concept of the keys. ठीक है. So how we are going to do that in this particular thing? What is the key? Just tell me, in this particular thing what is the key here? ID, right? ID is the key. ID is the unique identifier. We can also have the email here. Email is the unique identifier. Now we are going to show this particular thing to the UI. Okay. So how we can do that? We can do that with the users users.map. Now we have to iterate this particular user, each and every user. What we will do? I will write the u here, like a user. Okay, users, and I will use here index. ठीक है. ठीक है. And now what I will do is I will create a div and here what I will do, I will write here name but nahi, sorry, user dot name, because this is an object. So we are iterating each and every element and we are iterating each and every element and we are naming each and every element as the user, like for that particular thing to render. So we are getting the user dot name. Okay, user dot name. But here we have to include the key also. Key and the user dot id. Okay, user dot id. Now if you go back, you will see the Alice, Bob, Charlie. If I refresh this, you will see the, but each child should have a unique key. Why is this coming right now? ओके, ठीक है, ठीक है। अभी ये आई थिंक इट विल कम। कोई गया था क्या? अच्छा, ओके, ठीक है, ठीक है। सो नाउ we are rendering the list here. We are rendering something known as the list, but we are not using the list here. We are using the div tag here. We are using a div tag here. Let's I will paste this. I will copy this and I will just paste this here. Okay. Now I will go back and now you will see a list here. So now we are getting a list and now you're not getting the error here. कि भाई every will happen at should have key prop. Okay. Now you're not getting the error here. Why? Because this is the rendering list. We are rendering a list, unlisted list, and we are rendering every element of that particular list onto the UI. This is how we used to render a list. Okay. And we have solved the particular warning also कि भाई every key should have a unique, every list should have a unique key element. So we have giving the unique key element to this particular list. If I remove this and if I say this again, you will get a warning here कि भाई give me, for each and every element, give me some key, because when you will change this particular thing, you will uh, I will have to, how will I know कि भाई I am changing, whether I am changing this or not, this or that. ठीक है. Now if I refresh this, you will not get the warning here, this warning here. ठीक है. So any confusion in this, you can ask me. Either we can move forward. Keys help React identify which items in the list have changed. As simple as that. Key helps React identify which items in the list have changed. React identify which items have rendered, are added, or are removed. Keys are the essential for maintaining efficient updates and re-renders in the virtual DOM. ठीक है, ऐसे like same is that कि भाई it should see the difference and it will see the difference. ठीक है. Any doubts? You can open your mic and you can just ask your doubts. ठीक है. Let me just open my charger. ठीक है. Like you have to practice all those things. ठीक है. You have to practice all those things. Okay, so we have covered the till now what we have covered: the Axios, conditional rendering, and the rendering list. Both three are the most important topics in the React. Now let's come into some use callback, use memo hook. Okay, should we start with, like, this is another topic. So till now we were using the hooks, like the, like, so till now we were rendering, like, every time we do something change, or every time we do something change to this particular component, this component's re-renders, we all know this. Okay, but we are going to look how we can optimize this. कि भाई there are some things that कि भाई let me give an intro and we will look this tomorrow. ठीक है, we will look this tomorrow. Or let me what do let me do one thing. Let me create an application. ठीक है, let me create an application. What we will do is we will do that performance optimization yet tomorrow. I will just give you a brief कि भाई what is that, and at the end, now in last 5 minutes we'll create an application. ठीक है, a simple application in React. ठीक है. So performance optimization, performance optimization. ठीक है. We know कि भैया we have a parent and then we have child. Like this is how we can create component. Here app.jsx is a parent in this particular thing, ठीक है. App dot and we are importing in this app.jsx, and we are importing the render list. So now render list will be like, this is the render list, this is a child. ठीक है, this is a child. As simple as that. So this is the rule that कि भाई whenever parent component re-render, whenever parent component re-render, child component will also re-render, child component will also re-render. This is the problem. Why this is a problem? Imagine right now we have only just one child, so we can't see the difference. Okay, bhai, what is the problem? But when you will create big applications, you will see कि भाई there are there will be like hundreds of children components to a single parent component. ठीक है, to a single parent component. Does that mean कि भैया if this particular component re-render, our whole all those child will also re-render? Yes, all those child will also re-render. When they will re-render, whenever you will pass whenever you will whenever you will pass props. So yeah, this is the one thing that you should notice कि we all know props. What is props? ठीक है कि भाई we define a state. This is the parent, and we define a state here. ठीक है, we define a state here. Now when we pass this state to a prop, to a child component, it is known as the props, so that we can use this particular state in the child component, in the like state here as the props. Like we use the state as the prop in the child component. We will see it how we will do that. Okay, so imagine I am changing the state in the parent component. ठीक है, so in that case child component will re-render. ठीक है, child component will re-render. Why? Because we are changing the state, and of course then child will getting the same state, so that it will also get re-render. But that is the okay thing, for us. Imagine if this has something other state also. Like this is the first state, like it has something like states. It has something like a component can have a multiple state, right? A component can have a multiple state. So like, this is the one state, and it is having another state. ठीक है, another state. But we are not passing this particular state to the child, because we don't need that. ठीक है, we are using some functions that we can only use in the parent component. We are using some states that we can only use in the parent component. We are not passing it to the child component. ठीक है, but whenever we will manipulate this particular state, child component will again re-render. Why? Why this is happening? भैया ये तो गलत हो रहा है. आपने कहा कि आपने कहा कि भाई अगर 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 we are passing, imagine this parent is having two states, state 1, state 1, and the state 2, and we are passing the state 1 to the child. Now if I manipulate the state 1, our parent component will re-render and a child component will re-render. But why is this happening? कि भैया we are not passing the state to the child component, but whenever we are manipulating this, child component will re-render again. This is the problem in the optimization in React. Optimization and React. That is where we have some hooks known as the use memo hook, that will solve this problem. कि भाई you are using two state and you are not passing the state to in the child component, then whenever you are manipulating the state 2 in the parent component, your child component should not re-render. ठीक है, so we will see कि भाई how we can solve this particular thing using these two hooks. This is I know this is the performance optimization in React. Problem is same thing. ठीक है, and we have a solution, the use callback hook, and we will discuss कि भाई how we can write all those things, and they are the very very important in the terms of the interview. ठीक है, in the terms of the interview. Understood this concept? Just tell me yes. The concept I told you right now, this is a very important concept. We'll discuss tomorrow. ठीक है, it's a simple concept. Okay, so like you, whenever you go in doubt, just open your mic and you can ask me. Okay, but let's create an application here, a simple application that will consist all those things, all the thing we have learned till now about the conditional rendering and all, like Axios. Okay, what I will do, I will create a new file, uh, getting users dot jsx, sorry, ksx नहीं, jsx, and I will do rafce, and then I will call this in my main component. So I will comment this out, and I will import getting users, and I will use this. Okay, so now we are getting the getting users. Okay, it's what I want is, let's see, what I want this is something like कि भाई uh, in this particular application I will create a button get users, and whenever I will click on get users, below this I will see a list here appearing with all the users, their name, whatever the data I am getting. Okay, this is we are going to create this. Okay, so you can change the UI, you can convert this into a table, or you can convert this into a list. So but just we have to see the concept here, how this is happening. This is a simple application we are creating here. Let's see how we can do that. So the first thing we have to do is import the Axios, because we are going to get this data from the what from the API Axios, from Axios. Let me get a button here also. Let me get a button here also. H2 getting users button, get users, show users, show users. Now on click, show users. We'll get a function here, function user, show users. And what I will do, I will constant res await axios.cat, and I'm going to use the same API that we used in the previous. What was the API? API is this. Okay. Why is this giving error? Because we are not make this asynchronous. That will the error will come. Okay, and then we are just consoling that log res dot data. Okay, as simple as that. So this is the we have already covered this. If I click on get users, you will get the users also here. Okay. So what this user contain? Let's see. This is containing a address, a company field, and a this is like a this is the first object of the array, and it contains an array key value, and it has a whole value. The second key is the second key value pair is a company, and then the whole thing. And then the third is the email ID, name, phone, username, website. So we are just going to use the name, phone, username, email. Let's see. Okay, let's see that. So what we have to do is now we have to show the conditional. We will use the rendering the list here concept. But what I will do is I will create first a state here, constant users, and set users. Okay, use state, and let me. You can just see what I am doing here is the array I am getting. I am storing this array in this particular state, so that I can easily use this. I can easily create a rendering. I can easily create dot map on this particular users array. Okay, so I am creating the state in this particular component. Because why we're creating a state? Because I have told you that whatever the thing you have to do in a component, everything you have to do with the state here only. Okay, you can't directly manipulate this thing. We are getting the data, and now we can just directly show the array, all the users here. Okay, we have to create the state for that. Okay, we have to create the state for that. So like the initial value of the users is the empty array. Okay, and now we will fill this array. How we will fill this array? By using the set users and the rest dot data. Because in the data only now we are getting the array, so we are just using that all those things. Okay, so if I remove this console.log, and now if I show console.log users, you will see the same result. If I click on show users, now you will see the same result. The way users are coming. But now it is in the getting. If I click on this, you are showing the this users. Okay, console.log users, which is the state I have created here. Any doubt here? Why we have created this state? Because we know कि भाई we should always create state whenever we are going to show, or whenever we are going to use something in our component. ठीक है, so we are getting the data from the API, and I am getting the array, and now I have created a state in this particular array, and now I am storing this with the help of the set users, because this is how we are going to manipulate this particular users variable. ठीक है, as simple as that. Now in this, what I will do, I will create this. Now I will use a conditional rendering. कि भाई if users है अगर users है, then let's see something. Let's show fetching. Okay, users are, and then if they are not there, if we there are no user, then what we do? There are no users data. ठीक है, this is what we can do. See, so अभी uh, so अभी we have users, yes, we have users, so we have stored this user to this. ठीक है, if I refresh this, if I refresh this, you are seeing the empty array. ठीक है, you are seeing the empty array, but it is not showing the there are no users. Why it is doing that? Because I think, yeah, so अभी तो empty आ रहा है ना, अभी तो array तो empty है ना, but we are creating an empty here. So what we can do is we can write here null. Let's see what will happen. Null here, there are no users data, so let me h1. ठीक है, if I click on show users, now you can see users are. So how is this happening? कि भाई we see, whenever you will see that, whenever you are getting the users, or whenever you are confused कि भाई what thing I am getting, am I getting the array from it here, or I am getting the object from here, you can just define here null as an initial value, and you can now we are getting the users. ठीक है, now we are getting the users, so it will eventually see कि भाई we are getting the array, so I will add this array to the users thing. ठीक है, as simple as that. ठीक है, as simple as that. So we are using the conditional rendering here. Now I have to show the I have to show the users, all the users. So users dot, I am mapping this particular thing. I am mapping this particular thing. So users dot map, and I am showing the each user. ठीक है, this is how this is carry. अच्छा, okay. Map, and this is the syntax. Now in this, okay, now it is okay. Now what we're going is name. What I will do is I will create a div. I will create a div, and in that div, what I will do is I will create a now what I will create h3 name. Now in the name, user dot, how we can get that, users dot name. Let's see. So we are getting the name here. Okay, name here. Let me create this name also from here. Now you can see the difference here. Okay, now you can see the difference. But we are getting the all the names that is in the list here. Okay, there are 10 elements, so we are getting the 10 elements here, all the names. How we can just again do that. Users dot, we can create this h4, and users dot what we can do right is email. ठीक है, oh, sorry, h4. Now we have the email कि भाई this person का email ये है, this person का email ये है. ठीक है, so you can style this. So I can style this to make a type of a box style. I think style ऐसी होता है ना, इसमें style border but 2 pixel solid so, solid black. Let's see. Yeah, so now you can just let me add a padding here also. So padding, or let me add a margin. ठीक है, margin, what I can add is 5 pixels. ठीक है, let me add a more something 10 pixels, 10 pixels. ठीक है, and I can add a padding also. padding 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 as the 5 pixels. I'm just making it through a little bit looking at it. So now you are getting the users data here. ठीक है, so whenever I click on the show users, if I refresh this, there are no users data. Now if I click on the show users, now you will get the users data. Okay, this is what we are showing is कि भाई dynamically things are happening. This is how we are dynamically. So see the thing here, we are not refreshing the page here. If I refresh this right now, so if I click on the show users, you will not see a page is being refreshed. Why is that? Because react is not React is handling all those manipulating things, and React is making things dynamically. All these things making dynamically. So if I click on show users, users has come to my UI without being page reloaded. How this is happening? This is happening because React is doing all the manipulating things. We have to just write the logic here. We have to just create the state, and we have to write the logic here. We don't have to do all those things by document dot get elemented by ID, and then we will create a dev element. Then we will paste this. Then we will write this, and then we will show this to the users. This is not we are going to do all those things that we used to do in JavaScript. Okay? This is how uh, we can create, like, this is a simple application कि भाई on clicking on show users we will get the users, all the users. ठीक है? So what were the things, what are the three topics we have covered till now? We have discussed all those things कि भाई state, this is how we're going to use all those things with the help of the Axios. Then we learn something conditional rendering, and then we learn something कि भाई how to render list also. This is all the three topics we have covered into a single application. ठीक है? Any doubts? Any doubts in this? You can just see. You can just ask me, or like if this is a lot, if you think "Bhai, this is something I have to read it again," so you can just read this, or you can watch this video again. Okay, by how all these things are happening. But this is how we create applications in the React. Okay. uh, Divyanshi, what about you?
Here you have not used the key prop,
Yeah, okay, okay.
and
ठीक है, ठीक है.
then too it is not showing any warning. Why it is
Why
so?
it is? Because see, the topic we have covered here was the rendering list. So like, see, it is not showing the error. Why? Because we are not using the list here, we are using the div tag here. If I convert this to a list, like the ul list or the ol list, it will show us the error. So what you can do is, you can, in this div tag, you can do something like by key. And what is the unique thing you can seeing here? You can seeing here something known as the user dot email. This is how you can give the keys here. Okay, this is how you can give the keys here. Actually, it was showing me as the error, I think. Show users. Yeah, it is showing the error. So it is not showing, it is not working, right? It is showing us the error here. Okay, even after including the keys, it is showing us the error. Okay, so why is this happening? Because we are not using the list here. How can I use a list here? What I will do here as what I will do, what I can do is कि भाई I can, in the condition lot, and in this, where it was, yeah, in this thing, no, rendered list, yeah, in this thing we were using the ul here, unordered list. Okay, so when I was using the div tag, it was showing me the error. But as soon as I change this to the ul tag, the the error was gone. Why? Because it is saying ki bhaiya, I have problem with the ul only. I have problem ki whenever you are creating a list, whenever you are creating a list, so give me something a key, give me something a key. Okay, that is why it is showing us the error here. Okay, so like, if you get the idea, what I'm trying to say is that if we are using the div here, but if we use the ul here, and if I give the key here, as I given here, it will not show us the error. Okay, it will not show us the error. This is the concept here. Okay, error will always shown whenever we are going to use the key or the anything, but error will be removed whenever we are going to use the list here, and whenever we are going to give the key to that particular list. So if I click on show users, error will come and you will see the list. Okay, so um, this is the thing. Any doubt cleared or not? You can just rewatch it again. Okay, rewatch it again. uh, you will get कि भाई how this all this thing is happening. Okay, let me give this key to user user dot email key user dot email encounter two children with the same key. Now it will give the that error. Okay, so you have to use the one key only. Okay, so we always create a one div tag, like here in this thing we've created a div tag, and in this div tag we have created two elements. Okay, so we are giving key to only a one element. Okay, so it will consider कि भाई this is a unique element, and so we don't have to give the key to the same element here. Okay, but this is a warning, right? This is a warning. And the main thing is that कि भाई ये will this question will be asked to your interviews. Like, I'm 100% sure कि whenever you will give a interview for the React, this question will be asked कि भाई how we can what is conditional, what is like rendering list, show me a rendering list, and how we can solve what is this key problem that I'm getting in the console, and how we can solve this. This is the question that is very being asked when you go for the interviews. Okay, this is a simple application we have created. Okay, so like I think we are done for today. Tomorrow we will cover the React optimization technique, the problem I told you with the React. Okay, bhai, it render the child will re-render again and again, even if it doesn't want to re-render, it will render again and again. Okay, so we'll complete that tomorrow, and you can go, we can meet tomorrow. If you have any doubts, you uh, just keep practicing here. Like, you have if you have any doubts, you can ask me. Take it. You can leave now.